All right, you're welcome to my class again today. Now we are still looking at functions. So today we want to look at how you pass argument to functions. Now I told you in my previous class, a function is like a state in a country. It has all the things that it needs for its survival. So there is the input, the process, and the output inside the function. So how does the function receive this input, which is what? Data. So we are going to look at how argument, which is actually the parameters or the data that the function needs to operate, how it is passed onto a function. So how does the federal government give allocation to the state government? How does the state government give allocation to the local government? That is exactly what we want to look at as function today. So the first part we are going to look at is default argument. How does a function receive a default argument? So we are going to define the function, and then we are going to pass a default argument inside the function, and then we'll call the function and you see how it works. So if you understand what I'm saying, please just state it in the comment box, right? And if you like this video, do not forget to click on the like button. Don't forget to follow my page, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. The first thing we'll do is we are going to define a function. So let's define, right? This is define keyword that I'm going to use. Let's call our function employee info, right? So we'll call it emp, right? Info. You open the parentheses, and then you supply name, right? And then this one is age. But in this age now, you are going to give it a default value, which is what? Say 30. Now, so inside the function, what do I want the function to do? I just want the function to print out the employee name and the employee age. So I'm going to say here, I'll just write print. I'll call the print function, right? This is the print function. So inside the print function, I'm going to supply two parameters to the print function. The first one will be a string literal that I want the function to print out. And then I'm going to call this parameter to inside the function. So the first thing I'll do is, and I'll call it name. Then I'll put this, and then I'll put this, comma. So the next one I'm going to supply now will be this name. So name. Then I'll close the parentheses. Then I'll come here again and call another print function, right? And then age. Right? Then comma. So this age will be supplied. So here I'm going to return. Right? So this is my return keyword. Now I have defined employee info. So I have, these are the two arguments that I'm supplying to this employee info. This is my function name. So I have name supplied to it, age. And then this age has a default value, which is what? 30. Now I'm saying go in. This is the door. You go in, print name, then this name is supplied, print age, then this age is supplied, then return. So this is my function that I've defined. Now I'm going to call this function, and I'm going to supply parameters to it. So what I would do here is I'll call the function. Now in calling the function, I'll write here emp employee info. So this is the function I'm calling. This function, I'm calling it here. Now I'm going to supply the argument, right? The actual argument to this argument. So the first one is what? Name, which is what? I'm going to supply John, right? Then comma, which is age. Now I'm going to supply, I'm going to supply 40, right? So this is the first function that I've called. And then I've supplied these two arguments to the function, which is going to pass to this. Now I'm going to call this function again, emp info, right? In this one now, I'm just going to supply Michael. So in this one, I'm supplying only Michael, which is what? Name. I'm not supplying age. Now, when I run this process, what it will do, it will now take this John and give it to name. And then it will take this 40 and give it to age. So it will come in, because I'm calling the function, it will now come in, print name. So it will print this string, and then it will print John. And then it will come down and print age, right? And then it will print 40. But for this one, I'm just supplying only the name. So what will it do? It will call the function. Then this one will go to this place. So Michael will be supplied to name. And then it will come in and print name. And it will print Michael. And then here you to come in and print age. Because there was no age supply, so it's going to take this default value. So this one will print name. Then it will print John. And then it will print age. And it will print 40. While this one will print name. And it will print Michael. Then age. It will print 30. This will be my output. So right now I'm going to go into the PyCharm to demonstrate this to you practically for you to see how this output is going to come out. So the first thing we did was to define a function, and then we call the function here and supply this argument to this, right? We supply this argument to this. But for this one, we only supplied name. So it's going to use this default value to print out. And that is exactly what you're going to get here. So let's go into our PyCharm and see practically how to achieve this. All right, so this is our PyCharm. We are just going to demonstrate the things that we have done on the board. Now, so let me just create a new file. So we'll call it function.py. Then press enter. So here I'm just going to define my function. Define employee info, right? This was the function. And then I'll say here name, parameters, age, and then for the default value, I'm going to give it 30. All right, so I'll put my colon, and then I'll come in here, and I will say print, calling my print function. I'll give a string literal name. Then that is the first argument. The next one is, so print name, and then you supply the name to it. Then you come down again, another instruction, print age, colon. Then this, you supply the age parameter to it. Then you come here and you say return. So you are going to exit the function. Now my function has been defined. Now I want to call the function. So I'm going to call the function. I will say emp info, and I'll supply the argument to it. So the first one I'm going to supply John, right? And then I'm going to supply 40. So I'm supplying age to it. Now this age that I'm supplying now is going to override the default value. Then I'll call another one. I'm going to call the function again another time, info. And this time around, I will supply Michael. So I'm not going to supply age. So let's see what will be the output. So this first one will print name, John, age, 40. Why this one will print name, Michael, age, 30? Because there is no age supply, so it's going to take the default value. So let's execute this. Now, can you see it? The first one is name, John, age, 40. Then the second one is name, Michael, and age is 30 because age was not supplied into this argument. So this is exactly what I mean by default argument being supplied to a function at the time of definition. So this is just it. So please, if you like this video, do not forget to click on the like button and follow me on Facebook, and also subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Thank you. See you in the next class. Bye-bye.